Last night, rescue ships were called to the aid of more migrant boats in the same area of the Mediterranean, where an estimated 200 migrants were feared to have drowned when their boat capsized a day earlier. According to figures posted online, the Phoenix was responding to a distress call for a boat carrying about 500 people. The Coast Guard picked up 381 people on Thursday morning, while an Italy Navy ship took 101 from a large rubber boat, and the MSF vessel Argos rescued 87 people. And Wednesday's tragedy occurred when the boat flipped over as the Lenim approached, probably because desperate passengers surged to one side of the spotted ship. The Mediterranean Sea is the world's most deadly border area for migrants, and according to the International Organization for Migration, more than 2,000 migrants and refugees have died so far this year in attempts to reach Europe by boat, compared with over 3,200 deaths during the whole of last year. Well, water is killing migrants in the Mediterranean, while Malians are suffering from the lack of it. Conflict-affected towns in northern Mali are reporting severe water shortages. Kidal is completely dependent on ICRC generators to pump water, while water trucks and horse carts must make multiple trips every day to wells outside of the city. Residents have to pay up to $7 per barrel, and Mali's average rainfall has dropped by 30% since 1998, with droughts becoming longer and more frequent. According to a 2013 study by the U.S. Army Strategic Study Institute, as a consequence, hunger is a chronic problem in the country, with more than 1.8 million people, including 660,000 children, in need of food aid. Well, we're going to look at our Africa Tech segment at this point. The mobile technology revolution offers not only a wealth of social and economic opportunities, but also an avenue to empower female entrepreneurs in Africa's developing and emerging markets who can benefit from the ever-expanding mobile value chain. According to a research conducted by the African Development Bank, there's been an increase from 10% to 30% in the number of women-led enterprise over the past decade. And as the number of female entrepreneurs and tech innovators increases across all business areas, this is proof that the impact of women can be felt in every sector. Abisoye Ajayi is the founder of IT Consult. That's an adaptive innovation technology solutions development and training company, and she will be discussing some of the underlying challenges faced by women in the African continent that must be addressed in order to achieve a more inclusive entry into this revolutionary sector. Well, Mrs. Ajayi, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you. Now, what would you say are the main reasons for gender inequality in Africa's technology industry?
Well, I believe religion and culture, which is tradition, they've made certain remarks about the other role of women. And as a result, it's true because our biological configuration, which men try to belittle the role, so as a result, they claim superior contribution and the right to a better position. Also, religion and culture doesn't even regard the role of women enough. And over time, men have come to support it, especially when you witness cases like, oh, I bring the money in this house, I bring the money home, I pay the bills. You know, with cases like this, it's women's roles are not, they are not being seen, they are not relevant, you know, by culture. But really, we all know that the primary existence of the family is to raise children. So shouldn't the key partner in this task be the most important partner? Really. So I think the culture, the tradition, religion, they've not helped matters over time.
Well, Abisoye, what are some of the challenges that you've personally had to deal with in the tech industry, and how did you overcome them?
Over time, They've made, I don't know, but the tech industry has been termed boys club. And you ask me, what happens in a boys club? Well, girls are not allowed in. So now there's an unfounded belief that women can't compete, and as a result, they are not given the task that allowed them prove their capabilities. The belief is reinforced because of a lack of proofs. I worked somewhere, EDP Audit and Security Associates, and I worked there for 7 years before I started my own startup. And I can tell you that while I was there, there were probably maybe 40 guys and 7 women. And, you know, I realized that we don't even call females to actually help us to sort things out whenever we have issues, either we're programming or we're trying to, you know, get things done that we're having issues with. We call the guys. To be very frank with you, men dominate most IT companies. So women rarely get the opportunity to shine. Imagine a woman creating Facebook and Google. Then what we used about the women? Women will believe that, you know what, it can be done, I can do this, I can get this done. I'm also important, I'm valued, I'm this, I'm that. But why? Men are the ones creating this beautiful startups that we have, these beautiful platforms that we have. So we actually need more women innovators so that younger women can actually look up to them and be like, you know what, I want to be like that person, I want to be like that woman, I want to be like this person. So we need more role models in tech, more female role models in tech, I'll say.
Well, basically we have you, and the advice you've given us basically is not to wait until things land on our laps, but to go for it, which is what men are basically doing, if I understand what you've been saying all this while.
Perfectly, yes.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for joining us on Africa Tech on Network Africa.
Thank you very much for having me.
I've been speaking with Abisoye Ajayi. And on that note, we've come to the end of this episode of Network Africa. Many thanks for watching. I'm Cynthia Are. Feel free to send us your feedback for the program, about your views on the program, either by email or Twitter. The address and handle are right there on your screen. And we also like to urge you to show your support for press freedom, especially the trio of the Al Jazeera journalists. Thank you very much for watching Network Africa right here on Channels Television. I'm Cynthia Are.